Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 14 of the 2023 Tour de France. Guys, this is going to be an epic stage here, so you got to go back and watch the whole thing. You tune in here for the tactics, but if you want to be entertained, you go watch the whole stage, because from kilometer zero all the way to the finish of today's stage 14, it was exciting, fast, furious attacks all over the place, and teams doing monstrous jobs on the front of the professional peloton here at the Tour de France. Now guys, the highlight of today's stage, at about 155 kilometers, about 95 miles in length, we have 5 categorized climbs, but of course it's the HC climb, the Joux Plane, the famous Joux Plane climb, one of the hardest climbs in the Tour de France, hands down. In my opinion, it is the hardest. It is a scary climb. I remember doing it in 2006, and I have both of my jerseys up here. This is stage 17 of the 2006 Tour de France, and this, I was told, is stage 17 from Robbie McEwen, who wore it on that same stage. So I got both jerseys from the 2006 stage 17 Tour de France when we finished going up over Joux Plane and finishing in Merzin. Now, when today's stage starts, it's going to get going, and of course we're going to see my man Victor Campenaerts in the second attack with Lotto Destiny, but everything gets brought back, and as they're going down the descent, there's a massive crash. It blocks up the whole road. It's got 30 guys on the ground, bodies all over the place, spread out. We see the race leader's yellow jersey over in the grass, but I can't tell if he went down. I think he looks clean, and he looked clean throughout the rest of the stage, so I think he made it through fine. Tadej Pogačar is at the bottom of your picture, the front there of the pile, and he made it through okay. But then we look, Jai Hindley, third on the general classification. He's down, and we see his teammate helping him, getting his bike back up and going. Then there's a host of riders. Antonio Pedrero, he took the hardest hit here in this crash early, 8 kilometers into this stage 14 of the Tour, and he's going to be taken out in the ambulance. Many other riders. Esteban Chavez from EF Education, he went down too, but he's going to go out later when he gets into the van of his team, EF Education, and that'll call the end of his Tour de France here on stage 14. But there'll be a host of other riders going down, so make sure you go back and check the results. Now up front, as we're hitting the first KOM, we'll see it's Danny Martinez going over the top, and Julian Alaphilippe, pseudo quick steps, flying down the descent. Now there's another crash coming down this descent off the first KOM. It's going to be Roman Bardet and James Shaw from EF Education. It'll end the day here and their Tour de France hopes for both these two riders, as they'll abandon here at stage 14 too. Up front, what's happening when they come down off the first KOM? It's a 20-25 rider peloton up front. I know it's the breakaway, but guys, it's huge. It's massive in numbers, and there's nobody there from UAE team members and nobody there from Jumbo-Visma. Now, if I take you back to yesterday's stage 13, I was telling you today was going to be the stage for Jonas Vingegaard and Jumbo-Visma, because they've been talking the talk throughout the Tour de France that this is when the stages really start becoming tailor-made for Jonas Vingegaard. So we see back there on the second climb, we see it's Christophe Laporte that's on the front pulling for Jumbo-Visma. They got their whole team up, but if I go back to that crash, Wilco Kelderman from Jumbo-Visma went down in that crash too, but we have all 8 riders at the front there for Jumbo-Visma pulling hard. The break up the rope, we're seeing some action. Race leader for the KOM jersey, Paulus, is in the move, and he's throwing in some attacks with Ciccone going up to the second KOM. Ciccone will beat the American rider from EF Education. He'll take maximum points, but Paulus gets second, Julian Alaphilippe third. Now they go down a descent, and as they come into the third KOM, what's happening back there in the peloton? Well, Christophe Laporte, Nathan Van Hooydonk, I'm sure is doing some work, but off camera with Christophe Laporte on the front, he's pulling hard. He's got the gap still at 30, 45, a minute gap maximum as Jumbo-Visma is going full gas. Now I'm watching the GCN coverage, and Jens Voigt's on the motorcycle. He goes back and talks to the director sportif of Jumbo-Visma, and he says, what are you guys doing? What's the plan here? Do you guys care about the break? The Jumbo-Visma director says, no, we don't care. We'll let it go. Well, they might not care about it, but they're not going to let it go, and now it's clear to see the plans for Jumbo-Visma. They're going full gas. They're pulling the exact same plans that we saw in Dauphiné on stage 7 for Jumbo-Visma's Jonas Vingegaard when he won that stage. They believe, as they've been saying throughout this Tour de France and even before the Tour started, that this is the day, the stage at the 23 Tour de France that Jonas Vingegaard will be better than Tadej Pogačar. I support the plan 100%. I like it. I went to bed last night doing some comments saying that either Jumbo-Visma is going to put Wout van Aert up there and try to do something tricky, or if they're going to talk, they're going to ride the front of the peloton and drill it. And every mountain pass, as it gets harder and harder all the way to the finish when we start the HC climb, it's going to benefit Jonas Vingegaard because he's thinner and leaner than Tadej Pogačar. Their belief. I don't know if it'll benefit, but I love the plan because both riders, Tadej Pogačar, Jonas Vingegaard, are even in form, in my opinion, but I'd take Tadej Pogačar as the guy that could win this year's Tour de France. I still like the tactics. No matter what happens at the end of this stage, the tactics here from Jumbo-Visma at this point in time, going up the second KOM climb with them pulling full gas with Christophe Laporte on the front, I love the plan. Now, we come into the third KOM. We see a big-time battle. It's Michael Woods and Ciccone that are going to battle out. Michael Woods did a hard acceleration about 1.5 K from the top of the KOM, and we see Ciccone pull up next to him and give him the eye. He's like, what are you doing, Woods? Man, if I'm Woods, I look back over him and say, dude, I'm riding my race right here. We got Jumbo-Visma pulling full gas. I want some KOM points because we're not going to get anything else out of this stage. So get out of my hair. I'm going full gas. Well, Woods keeps pulling. Ciccone sits second. And then Ciccone, right before the line comes up, he does a hard acceleration and drops Woods from Israel Premier Tech out the back. So Ciccone will get first place on the third KOM here of stage 14. Behind the peloton, still going full gas. The break that had 20-25 riders has split up all over the place. Ciccone, Woods have some company with Landa in there and Thibaut Pinot. Thibaut Pinot is a little bit of a threat at the classification up here, but they don't have any time. Guys, the gap is like 30 seconds to a minute the whole time to the peloton. And the break of 20 riders has been playing tactical games left and right, not working smooth together. Well, after the third KOM finishes, the group comes back together, and we're talking about 20 guys still, and finally they start rotating through. They're rotating through hard, but behind Jumbo-Visma, Nathan Van Hooijdonk and Laporte are going full gas, still holding them at about a minute. Now, we get into the fourth climb here. It's a Category 1. Guys, every climb here was massive. They had a Category 3, Category 1, Category 1, and now they're on the fourth climb of the stage. It's still a Category 1, and this thing is monster on 15 kilometers thereabouts, and we're talking 7%. While Christophe Laporte brings back the whole big group there that was in the breakaway early throughout this stage 14 that never gained any time. All these guys are knuckleheads unless they were going for KOM points. Because if you thought you were going to go to the end and win today's stage after Joux Plane, you were crazy when Jumbo-Visma's back there pulling full gas. And it was easy to see their MO when you're sitting on the Chesterfield. Everything's wrapped up except for a couple riders. We got Woods and Ciccone going full gas. Nathan Van Hooijdonk will do some pulling for about 1 K to 2 K long. Then Nathan Van Hooijdonk's going to fall off the front, and it's time for Thijs Benoot to go to work. The Belgian rider's on the front setting a furious pace. He's going to bring back Michael Woods. Then he's going to bring back Ciccone, and they still got most of the climb left here on this Category 1. Now up top, once Benoot pulled off, we see Dylan Van Barley get on the front. The Paris-Roubaix winner is drilling it, and the peloton is shrinking in size left and right. With Dylan Van Barley going full gas, he's going to pull up till near the top of this fourth category climb here on stage 14 of the Tour de France, and then Wout van Aert's going to come up and have a little chat with Dylan Van Barley. Well, we see if we go to the back of the peloton, it was Tom Pidcock and Soler that were having all kinds of problems. Up front, Wout van Aert goes to work. This will send Dylan Van Barley out the back, and you see him there with Tom Pidcock and Soler. Now, with Wout van Aert on the front, look at the way the flags are blowing. The flags are basically a tailwind going up this climb. You do not want a tailwind if you're suffering like Tom Pidcock right now, going up and over this Category 1 climb. He's on the back gate, coming off the back, can't close the gap as you got Wout van Aert on the front. They'll go over the top with about 15-20 guys in the front group, and Tom Pidcock's going to try to use his descending skills to get him back up to the front group. Only problem for Tom Pidcock, though, Wout van Aert's using his descending skills and his power throughout all the curves and the acceleration coming out. Look, his teammates, Jumbo-Visma's, Wilco Kelderman, Sepp Kuss, and Jonas Vingegaard and the race leader's yellow jersey are doing everything they can to hold on to Wout van Aert. We see Wilco Kelderman trying to close the gap. You look behind Jonas Vingegaard, Tadej Pogačar is there. Sepp Kuss is behind Tadej Pogačar, and the whole group of favorites up here split up. We go to the back of the favorites. Tom Pidcock's not going to get back on. He went over the top of the climb about 35 seconds off of Wout van Aert, so he's not going to see the big guy pulling. But we look back, there's two 2 guys from Joux Plane. That's Simon Yates, my favorite to go podium here at the Tour de France. He's got Chris Harper with him, and he's got Felix Gall. Felix Gall's back there, and we look at Guillaume Martin from Cofidis. These 4 riders don't play around. They know they got to do everything they can. It's less than 50 kilometers to go. They got to work together and go full gas down this descent to try to get back up to the favorites on the general classification with Wout van Aert pulling. They come into the valley. This was kind of comical here if you're listening to the GCN commentators, because they're talking about how Wout van Aert should ease off the gas through the valley so that he doesn't give the guys on the back a free ride. Man, they're not going to ease up. They're going to go full gas. The only guy at GCN commentators that was doing a good job on today's stage 14, Daniel Lloyd. Daniel Lloyd called out Jumbo-Visma's tactics as soon as he saw them in play. He must be watching the butterfly effect, and I only have one question for Daniel Lloyd. Where do I send my bill to for all the coaching I've given you guys? I'll send it over to the Discovery Network, I guess. But now let's get back into the race, because we see the 2 Joux Plane with Cofidis pulling hard, and with AG2R's Felix Gall. Felix Gall's having a fabulous ride. They'll bridge back up to the group in front as they get into the valley, and Wout van Aert stays full gas on the pedals just like he should. He's going full. He's got everything strung out. Everybody's hurting. Now we'll see as we're coming into Joux Plane. Famous left turn here. Has scarred me for life seeing this left turn when I did it in 2006 and got this beautiful jersey right here, because I was pegged for all of the 200 kilometers of that stage, and this left turn was my salvation. Now, when we went into it back in 2006, I sat up, went back to the car, wished Cadel Evans good luck on the stage, then dropped back to the car, grabbed me a couple Cokes and a couple Snickers, and pulled over the side of the road, ate one, drank one, and then continued riding my bike up the climb, and lost about 15-20 minutes when the stage finished, and I was still probably top 50 on that stage. Now, today's stage, though, it's a different story, because we got a small group coming into this left turn. It's being led by Wilco Kelderman, and Wout van Aert sitting second wheel, going full gas. Now, as the climb starts proper, we see this is a monster climb. Like I said, 11.5 kilometers, over 8%, and it's going to start with about 23 kilometers to go here on stage 14. Now, right away, UAE team members make their first mistake, but I'm going to get back into the tactics later, and I'll just tell you what's going on. Rafael Majka goes to the front. This drops Wilco Kelderman off the back. Wout van Aert goes off the back. A lot of the favorites are going out the back, guys. They're dropping everywhere. Simon Yates is going out with Harper back there. We see Guillaume Martin's getting dropped, and then everybody back there's having a hard time. Then with Rafael Majka on the front, his pace starts to slow a little bit. Once it starts to slow, look back. Wout van Aert starts passing Simon Yates. Guys, this guy has been on the front already for 30 kilometers. And we're going up Joux Plane. Simon Yates is top 10 on the general classification, and Wout van Aert's dropping him as he's bridging back up to the front group. We see him go right by Tadej Pogačar. He's going to go right by his race leader, Jonas Vingegaard. Then he gets up there to Rafael Majka, who looks left over his shoulder and pulls off right and drops anchor. Wout van Aert takes over because Jumbo-Visma have a plan. They want to go full gas and make it as hard as they can, because today, stage 14 has 5 category climbs, and 3 of them are category 1, and this last one's an HC. So they have faith in Jonas Vingegaard to be the #1 rider here at the Tour de France. With Wout van Aert on the front, the pace is blitzer, and it's going fast. He'll pull for a few hundred meters more, and then he'll pull off. It's time for Sepp Kuss to go to work. With Sepp Kuss on the front, he's pulling full gas. He got the group down to 7 riders. Sepp Kuss, Jonas Vingegaard, Tadej Pogačar, Adam Yates is there, Carlos Rodriguez, Jai Hindley's there, and guys, he crashed 8 kilometers into this stage, and his jersey's ripped up all over the place. Now, we see that with this group going full gas, Sepp Kuss up there, we'll see the feed zone come up, Tadej Pogačar grab a bottle, and then he'll drop it. You see him incredibly frustrated, and this will be the difference here on this 2023 edition versus 2022. Once he drops his bottle, he looks left. He's got Adam Yates there. Yates sprays himself with the bottle, then hands it over to Tadej Pogačar so he can cool himself off and get ready for what we all know is going to be a marvelous Joux Plane attack coming here with 15 kilometers still to go. Sepp Kuss going full gas. Then we start seeing Felix Gall in the back. He's having a little bit of problems, but he's still hanging. Then we start seeing up front with Tadej Pogačar. He starts talking over to Adam Yates with about 3.5-4 kilometers to go on Joux Plane. Adam Yates gets the nod from Tadej Pogačar. He goes through the front, picks it up, full gas. We see Sepp Kuss coming out the back. Carlos Rodriguez is hanging on to the 3 riders in front. It's Adam Yates going full gas. Tadej Pogačar, the Slovenian, is locked on his wheel, and Jonas Vingegaard's locked there. With those three guys pulling away. We see Carlos Rodriguez struggling from Ineos to close this gap. He won't see the front group for a little bit, but he will find his way back. Just give me a little bit of time. Now it's time for Tadej Pogačar to go to work. We're at about 3.5 kilometers to go here on the Joux Plane, and Tadej Pogačar throws in attack. He gets a gap there on Jonas Vingegaard. They're holding each other at 2-3 seconds. Tadej Pogačar looks back. He still can't break the yellow jersey back there of Jonas Vingegaard, and they're going just until about 1.7 kilometers to go. Tadej Pogačar will take another bottle from his soigneur on the side of the road. Then he'll sit up, look back, and Jonas Vingegaard will close the gap with 1.5 kilometers to go. Now, this is a tricky situation if you're Jonas Vingegaard. What do you do? Remember, at the top of Joux Plane, there's time bonuses. So Tadej Pogačar can grab 8 seconds. Jonas Vingegaard can grab 5. But if they get caught from behind, all of a sudden things could get really interesting, right? Tadej Pogačar, while I'm sitting on the Chesterfield, I'm thinking, man, you already let Jonas Vingegaard get back on. Maybe you want to let Carlos Rodriguez, maybe you want to let Adam Yates get back on so that they can possibly get in the way with Tadej Pogačar winning the time bonus and then Jonas Vingegaard getting third or maybe even fourth at the top of the summit. Most likely he gets second. I know that. I got a little bit of intelligence, but maybe you get some guys in the middle and Jonas Vingegaard can't get any time bonuses. Well, they don't. Jonas Vingegaard keeps going a little bit full gas. 500 meters from the line, Tadej Pogačar throws in a vicious acceleration only to come up to the back of the motorcycles. The crowds have pushed everybody in. There's 2 camera motorcycles in front of the 2 best riders here at the Tour de France, with Tadej Pogačar having to shut it down and sit back down on the saddle. Now you got about 400 meters to go. Tadej Pogačar now is in a dangerous position. And he's a little bit out of his sorts. He was planning on going full gas and taking these time bonuses with just that big acceleration, and instead he had to shut it down and back the gas off. Now he's in the front there. Jonas Vingegaard sitting second. Tadej Pogačar doesn't back off and let the riders from behind come back on. Instead, he pulls up to about 150 meters to go. Then Jonas Vingegaard attacks around the right side of Tadej Pogačar, going so fast. Tadej Pogačar looks like he didn't even expect it coming. Jonas Vingegaard wins the 5th KOM here on stage 14 and takes the maximum time bonus of 8 seconds. Tadej Pogačar finishes second, so he loses 3 seconds there to Jonas Vingegaard. He's going backwards on today's stage. Now they go over the top. What needs to happen going over the top? Well, I think Jonas Vingegaard's got to go full gas. If you do the math, if you looked at it, if Jonas Vingegaard pulls all the way into the finish, he gets second on the stage, and Tadej Pogačar most likely wins, getting 10-second time bonus, so he loses 4 seconds to Tadej Pogačar. But he gets a gift. Tadej Pogačar still pulling on the front. What's happening behind? Well, look as they're going over the little bump after the KOM there. Carlos Rodriguez is in the back of the motorcycles here, just behind Tadej Pogačar and Jonas Vingegaard. He'll bridge up, and he's got Adam Yates following just behind. Now they're coming into the tight right bend there, and we're talking about a few kilometers to go on a crazy, dangerous descent here going into Morzine. As Carlos Rodriguez flies around the outside, he almost bumps Tadej Pogačar as he gets a little squirrely there, trying to hold the bike up. Carlos Rodriguez dives into the right turn. What happens behind? Adam Yates, what happened? You let Carlos Rodriguez go, but you look, Jonas Vingegaard actually took Adam Yates a little bit to the left and held him up. Now Carlos Rodriguez going full gas. He's taking maximum risk going through all these corners. Tadej Pogačar cannot follow the Ineos rider's wheel, and it just starts opening up. Now Tadej Pogačar is doing everything he can, pulling Jonas Vingegaard to the finish. Oh man, the whole time. They're halfway down this descent. Tadej Pogačar has been flying, but he's been pulling Jonas Vingegaard the whole time, with Carlos Rodriguez not worried about anything but the stage victory here on stage 14. They'll come into the very bottom, and there's a little bit of a bump going up. I'm thinking, wow, sitting on the Chesterfield, not only did you lose 3 seconds at the top of the KOM on the time bonus, Tadej Pogačar, you might lose second place here trying to bring back Carlos Rodriguez. It's clear that the Ineos rider is going to win. He sits up, celebrates, and crosses the line, of course, giving hugs to all of his staff and the riders later here after the finish of stage 14. Behind, what happened? Finally, Tadej Pogačar backed off the gas enough. Adam Yates came up from behind, caught, and then all of a sudden took the front seat there and did the pull for Tadej Pogačar to about 200 meters to go when the Slovenian punched it, got second on the stage, so got back 2 of those time bonuses that he lost at the top of the KOM. So when the stage is all said and done, Tadej Pogačar, instead of being 9 seconds behind the race leader of Jonas Vingegaard, who got third on today's stage, he's going to be 10 seconds behind at the end of the day. Now, Jonas Vingegaard did a great job. I love the whole tactics. I don't know how he came out gaining 1 second, but at the end of today's stage 14, Jumbo-Visma, like their director sportif said, they were happy with the stage. He was asked afterwards what their plan was for tomorrow. He said they'll talk about it tonight, but they're going to do whatever is best for Jonas Vingegaard in tomorrow's stage 15. That's 180 kilometers long, again with mountain passes and a summit finish on the stage. I only hope they go full gas and we see a repeat of today's, because it was a marvelous stage and big-time tactic battles that Tadej Pogačar made mistakes on. Now, what were those mistakes? Well, when Joux Plane started proper, first off, you didn't need to put Rafael Majka on the front. Jumbo-Visma's job, told last night and talked about, I'm sure, in the bus this morning and talked about throughout the stage 14, was when they hit the last climb, Joux Plane, they were going to go full gas. You definitely do not want to take the front if you still have Sepp Kuss in this group and you know he's going to go full gas. There was no reason to put Rafael Majka on the front. That was a knucklehead move. Now, the next knucklehead move, well, that was putting Adam Yates on the front. Guys, Jumbo-Visma had this stage dialed since last year's Tour de France was introduced on the 2023 edition in October. They knew here on stage 14 that they had to win with Jonas Vingegaard. So if you back the film all the way up, when we're talking about Rafael Majka on the front, well, Sepp Kuss keeps pulling hard 100%. Then you know Jumbo-Visma want to launch Jonas Vingegaard. Tadej Pogačar waits for the launch that we all know is coming. Jonas Vingegaard goes. Tadej Pogačar follows it because clearly he's on good form. He gets a little bit recovery because Jonas Vingegaard's in the front. Then he throws in a blistering attack that Jonas Vingegaard now cannot cover because he spent too much time on the front pulling the Slovenian. The Slovenian goes over the top of the KOM, gains time on Jonas Vingegaard, gains the 8-second time bonuses, drops down the descent, and wins today's stage 14 to wrap up the race leader's yellow jersey for Tadej Pogačar and UAE Team Emirates. Guys, the mistake today from UAE team members Tadej Pogačar and how he worked the team going all the way up Joux Plane is what cost him a second on today's stage to Jonas Vingegaard and cost him the stage victory here at the end of stage 14. It was a big-time cluster at the end of Joux Plane here for UAE Team Emirates. Now, tomorrow, stage 15, what's it going to be? I hope it's the same tactics as what we saw today because Jonas Vingegaard did not achieve exactly what he wanted on today's race either, but he's still wearing the race leader's jersey. He's got a 1 second plus advantage on Tadej Pogačar after today's stage, so he's got 10 seconds advantage on Tadej Pogačar going in tomorrow's stage 15, but he needs more. The individual time trial comes after tomorrow's monstrous mountain stage, so Jonas Vingegaard does not want the gap to be as close as it is right now at 10 seconds, and for sure Tadej Pogačar does not want to be behind 10 seconds, so tomorrow's stage 15 should be another epic battle, and hopefully Jumbo-Visma just run the tactics identically the same, even though it's rare to see Jumbo-Visma ever run back-to-back tactics in a bike race. Remember stage 7 of Dauphiné? They won and dominated stage 7, and then stage 8, they turned around and put Thies Benoot in the break. He lost, got caught, and Jonas Vingegaard never caught the breakaway, and Ciccone won that stage. Well, tomorrow, let's see if Jumbo-Visma start running a back-to-back stage strategy here at the Tour de France because they believe Jonas Vingegaard is the best rider. Their words, not mine. But after today's stage 14, do they still believe that? We'll find out tomorrow on stage 15. So like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next edition real soon.